this isn't one of those cheap, tacky musicals that just puts a load of ABBA songs together or anything like that. This is a funny show. So I suppose there's some credibility there for you that you're coming into Eric Idle's work.
Well, the weird thing is I was sort of been chatting with other people that interviewed me, and then sort of through the process of being interviewed, I suddenly realised that when I was 8, I used to knock off Monty Python, routines with my mates at school. We used to do drama. When we were doing drama at junior school, we used to do Python sketches. And we got quite a following in our school, and we were like the funny boys that do the voices and things and arse around. And then, I to be 40 years later, doing it for cash. Get in. Come on.
Are you enjoying it? Because this is a show where you have to sing. Who'd have thought you'd be doing that?
Musical theatre was never something that was on the radar in any way. Even though my missus... I remember my wife saying that musicals would be where I'd end up. I sing with bands and things. She knows I can sing because I sing around the house. And she was like, I see you in musicals. And she said this years ago. And I was like, there's no way it'd happen. I'm not in this. I don't know the right people. I don't know this. And there's a casting director in London called David Grindrod who first got me. He was looking at me to play Count Fosco in Woman in White. And he just said, just come in. And he was just curious. He'd seen me on Buzzcocks. He was a fan. And he just said, well, come in and have a chat, And then he got me to see Maureen Scott, a voice coach. And then Maureen said, if you trained, she said, well, you could do musicals easily with just a month of work. And she said, but if you really knuckle down and I sent you to the Royal Academy and you got trained properly, you could be doing opera within the year. You've just got the right shaped body for it and the right throat, lovely natural tone. And I'm like, I felt like a stereo. It's like, so singing is something I'd always done, and so it just seemed a bit of a natural fit really. In Spamalot, the amalgam, it was just like a Venn diagram of comedy and sort of being out on the road and music, and the only weak leg to the stool is dance. I can't move around very quickly, and I'm sure none of your listeners will be surprised to hear that I'm not going to be bothering them on Strictly at any time soon.
I'll tell you what was nice watching the people in the audience today, which I tend to do more than watch you, because I think they'll tell me whether you're any good, never mind my opinion. They kind of buy into you as a personality. They kind of love you, and you can't buy that, can you, as a star on stage? Nobody's going to sit there and go, oh, well, that note wasn't right. Whereas with some stars you would. You'd think, actually, oh, hang on, I'm paying good money to see you get that wrong.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is when you're starting from a base level when they're expecting nothing, and then they say the most common note I've got from people on Twitter and things and on the internet is, oh my God, he can sing. I didn't know you could sing. And it's not really called for. When you work on a crappy pop quiz, they don't really need you to suddenly bust out the show tunes. It doesn't happen very often, and there's not an awful lot of singing. I mean, there's one quiet number, and it's if you get the ballad, people go, isn't it lovely? And it's that all alone. It's the fact that you've got the moody ballad in this, and that's all you need. And it's not really a proper moody ballad. It's Todd's comedy number is that, but it's really fun to sing something laid back, because when I'm with the Blockheads or the Bonzos, it's all full belt. It's all you're singing Ian Jury songs. It's not exactly. It's not called upon for your light and shade in there. Really, it's sort of when you're singing Blackmail Man or Plasto Patricia, you're a bit full tilt.
Are you enjoying the fact that this isn't all about you, and that there's a whole load of people taking responsibility for you looking good, and that all you got to do is get it right and everything will be fine?
I think that's the thing. The reason that it was a bit of a no-brainer saying yes to doing Spamalot was the experience I had on Hairspray, which was suddenly coming from a discipline like stand-up, where you're completely your own boss. And you stand off for by your own things. There's no one giving you notes or anything. You're just doing the show and thinking about it afterwards in the curry house. And if you think anything went wrong, then doing it different. Whereas this time, there's always someone watching you. There's always someone noting you. If you get anything wrong, they say, you got that wrong, by the way. Pick it up next time. It's a disciplined thing, and also that you've got to get your cues right, because everyone else around you is relying on you getting it right. And so that was the thing that always scared me about theatre as opposed to stand-up, was the responsibility to the other performers around you, which is my favourite thing about it, is that you're all interdependent. Is that the tightrope act of it is all of you. Just got to hit it right, and you're looking people in the eye on stage. That is the weird thing. When I'm standing underneath that tower and Graham's doing French taunters at me, he's blowing raspberries at me, going up and down that thing, we're just staring at each other. It's the weirdest thing. But I really like it. I've spent ostensibly 20 years, on stages with a mic stand. That's it, and you don't get a lot back from them.
I've got a confession. Do you mind?
Confess away, please.
Well, I came to see you at the Shaftesbury. Well, I didn't pay. They gave me free tickets. I don't pay to see. And I don't know how to say this, Phil, but I rather fancied you as a woman.
No, the thing is, right, the problem that I had with Edna and Hairspray was that when I got all the kit on for the first time, I looked like my mother in the 1960s. So I looked like Mum looked great. When Mum was done up properly in the 60s, she looked cracking. And so the thing is, I didn't like having the old man around during shows. Especially wouldn't let him drink.
Just in case.
Don't let the old man drink and don't be, because I just look so much like my mum. I don't know. Yeah, it's when the beard, because I got the beard back now for Arthur. So it's that round. I was like that kind of chubby, yummy mummy. If you like a big woman, I ticked a number of boxes. There's not. Divine had quite a hard face when he played Edna. And you see, Fierstein had a certain lot. Michael was cute. I fancied Michael, you see, in all the gear. So I understand that. I can see where you're coming from.
Well, Connolly was second for me, you see. I spoke to him a few weeks ago and asked him how seriously he took it. Where did you go in terms of the shaving? Where did the line stop?
Oh, no, it was. I did the legs initially, and then I realised that it was such a heavy denier of tights I was wearing that I actually didn't need to shave my legs. And so when that was revealed as being... And then also, with Edna being such a... she's a big old bird, and then you just suddenly realise that actually she wouldn't shave her legs. She was agoraphobic, and the shaving in my face was a pain in the arse every day, because you can't have a stubbly mum. You can't, and apologise to any stubbly mums out there, but it just didn't work for me, and so sometimes. I'd be looking at Sue or Anthony, my makeup people, and I'd go, "Can I get away with it?" And they just rub my chin and they go, "Not really." And so you got over the sink, and it's 20 minutes till the show, and you're wet and you're bleeding, and they're slapping makeup over the blood. You end up looking like something out of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was just so grim. But no, once you get into the rhythm of it, and yeah, but I don't miss the shaving. I miss Edna though. It's weird. I was talking to Michael Ball when I saw Bawley. Bawley came and did Buzzcocks again. It was his second time on. He had a right old laugh. When he came on, I was like, "How is she? Is she all right?" He went, "Yeah, she's good. She's having a nice time." We talk about her like a missing relative, And it's odd. I had a very similar conversation on the internet. Michael McKean at Spinal Tap, who played Edna on Broadway. When he sent me sort of good wishes when I was playing her. He went, "How's Edna?" I went, "She's good. She's well. She's having fun." It was very weird. Blokes that have played Edna in Hairspray have got this odd fellowship.
And how does it compare to something like this? This is my take as an outsider that knows nothing about anything. This seems like a lot of fun and a lot easier than that, because it's like a proper big show with dancing and a lot more lines for you and everything in the right place, and also a bigger show and a bigger cast.
I think the thing is, with Spamalot, it's certainly there is. You're right. I mean, I'm on stage for longer. With Edna, it was there was a lot of changing with Edna. A lot of changes. You were on and off a lot, and loads. One quick costume change was a nightmare. If you ever missed anything, you came staggering out with one shoe on, and trying to do Welcome to the 60s, and trying to look glamorous with one shoe on. And it was never one shoe. That was because I always did shoes first. But I did once go out with no earrings, and I felt naked.
And you can't stop the beat at the end of it. That's the number where you've got to find energy from somewhere.
No, as you can't stop to beat, or as it's known in musical circles, you can't stop to breathe. It's the most lyrics. It's actually, you can sing it when you're just standing in a room and you've got the words in front of you. But if you have to run around dancing and singing it as well, my God, it's unbelievable. That was the thing, was the kids, all of and the cast, supporting cast here, the people, the entire ensemble on Spamalot, and everybody, on Hairspray, these trained professionals who can dance and, have someone stand there and go, and it's on 3, and bang, they're there. That level of skill in what they do, it just never fails to impress me. That's what I love about being in musicals, is the precision. I like, it's fun. It's fun to do.
You and radio is a really interesting thing, because I listen to you a lot and you're really good at it, but you're not doing it anymore. Why?
It's just one of those. I think I was at Six Music for 5 years doing breakfast. I was the first live voice on the DAB airwaves back when we had listeners that I could probably have counted on. Certainly, if you and I got our fingers and toes together, Alex, I think we could certainly, cobble together enough of a listenership. It was really, in those early days, was really, just one of those things that we didn't know how many listeners we had. I tried to buy a DAB radio for my mum when we first launched Six, and you just could not get them. I had a rack DAB that would go into the stereo that a company gave me, and they retailed at around 600 quid. And then about 18 months after we launched Six, Evoke started doing the Pures, or Pure started doing the Evokes. That's the other way around. So that was the first, those little wooden ones that everyone first got. And they were the first people to do a mass-marketed digital radio. And then when they came out, Argos did them, and I bought a dozen, basically. And I'm pretty sure that Argos thought I had some kind of weird drug smuggling thing where I got drugs put in radios and was picking up my stash in Lakeside. But I just gave them to friends and family and said, look, this is the thing that I'm on. But that was 18 months after we'd started. And so they launched this radio station when the technology wasn't really there to listen to it. Most of our listeners were listening on DSAT tellies or on... and that wasn't for like 3 or 4 months, or they were listening online, and once BBC, we've got the iPlayer now. This is the pre-iPlayer days when BBC Online was really kind of, just trying to promote things and get stuff going. That was how most people listened to Six. And so therefore we had an audience, a constituency that was all over the world. People listened to us. We had listeners on the west coast of the States, New York, Canadians, Europe, continental Europe, lots in Australia. Expats listened to us a lot. We were a drive time show in Tokyo. We were late night listening in Oakland, in California. I mean, we were everything to everybody all over the world. And then when, it came to be how they did the ratings, because there weren't any DAB radios out there and people didn't have DABs, we didn't get any audience figures for 18 months. And so eventually when we did get audience figures, and we'd been on for 18 months, so we've been doing that and promoting it and plugging it and adverts and everything, and we've been on for nearly 2 years, and our audience figures were 150,000, and that is just not good enough. But as people started to get digital radios and started to buy into digital radios, the audience, over the period I was there, so I was there for 5 years, the first 18 months, no audience figures. Then our audience figures started at 150,000. By the time I left, we were at 500,000. We were at 500,000. What they always said they wanted for Six Music was 1 million to 1.5 million. That was what they wanted for Six Music. Now, the second that the DG announces that Six Music is going to be shut down, the audience figures go up to 1 million to 1.5 million. And so Gillian Reynolds at the Telegraph, the radio correspondent at the Telegraph, she thinks that he announced it deliberately to get just a bit of buzz about Six Music coming. And if that's true, that was a genius move. I actually think he was going to shut it down. But there was so much of an outcry about it, and just listeners were so well organised. 2 massive demos in town. And then a gig, and people really cared about the station. I really did. And Guardian Online, the second they got wind of what was being done, the Guardian phoned me up, and I did a piece for them, just about how brilliant it was working there, what a great station it is, and there's nothing like it, and people, do love the station. It's got its failings, and it's got, its weaknesses, but everyone does. It's not, the BBC is not a taxi that takes you exactly where you want to go. It's a bus that operates for other people as well. And so much as, I can't give a toss about EastEnders. I hate EastEnders, but people love it, and they pay for it, so they're entitled to it. Just like I'm entitled to see that guy basically on my licence money take drugs with weird tribes in the middle of nowhere, and get whacked off his gourd on peyote seeds on my dime. I like seeing that crazy guy then pushing bamboo spears through his skin. I like the madness of the BBC, but yeah, it's not a taxi, it's a bus, and it belongs to all of us. So I don't work for them anymore, but I would in a heartbeat, and they know that, and I think that's why they don't have me back, because they know that when they do ask, I'll say yes, and so there's no rush.